Welcome back. I'm Michael Foley, former member of the Canadian National Kickboxing Team, BJJ Black Belt, and Karate Black Belt. And today, I'm going to teach you how to throw a low kick. First things first, we need to get into our kickboxing stance. I'm right-handed, so I step back with my right foot. Hands out front, retract them to my guard. There's 3 ways to throw a low kick for beginners. Without a step, with a partial pivot, and with a full pivot of my base leg. Here are my 3 examples. The first one, my back leg swings to the front. I'm gonna bring it up on an angle and I cut here. The second way, I take a partial step out with this foot, but I don't pivot any further than this. My kick is still gonna come up on a 45-degree angle. And the third way, I'm gonna do a step and then a full pivot with this foot. My kick is gonna come up and come down on an angle. My step is completely different if I wanna kick with my lead leg. What has to happen here, if I wanna kick fast and on a sharp angle upward, I'm just gonna do a little pendulum step. My back foot comes to my front foot, my lead leg comes up on an angle, and I kick this way. If I want to kick with a little bit more power, I want to slide my front leg back, step in with my back foot, and I create a soft angle this way, and then I do that same punt style kick on an angle here, and then step back. And lastly, if I want to kick with more power with my front leg, I'm going to do a full switch. 2 different ways you can do this. You can jump and switch, or my preferred method is to drag this foot back, turn this foot out on an angle, and again, my leg comes up, cuts down on an angle, and I do a full pivot on this leg. Here, a little quicker. The best way to train low kicks is on the heavy bag or against a partner. If you throw low kicks with a full pivot, what happens is you end up swinging all the way around, and you'll see guys in MMA gyms and Muay Thai gyms doing this a lot, doing a full twist. The twist is good if you miss, but it's not necessarily the best way to practice this move. I prefer to make impact with something. Like I said, a great way to practice this is with something you can make impact on. I like these heavy bags because of the length. This heavy bag here, the padding drops below my knee height, so I can kick this fairly low. I want to get jab's length away from the bag. From here, the 3 types of kicks I talked about, the upward cutting kick, the upward kick with a little pivot on my front foot, and then the downward kick with a big pivot on my front foot. You'd use those 3 kicks in 3 different settings. The first setting is I just want to get my opponent thinking about their leg and having to protect their leg. Maybe I'm throwing punch combinations to the head and they're gloving up pretty good, but I notice their weight's on their legs. So I'm just going to snap that kick just to get them thinking about their legs to hopefully provide me with an opening for a punch to the head. That kick looks like this. I pick my knee up first. I start to turn the kick in, and I make a slight turn with my hips, and I put my foot back down quick. You want to launch this kick from a boxing position where I can throw hands from here. I don't want to get any closer or any further away, because when I throw the kick, I want to still be able to touch with my hands. Okay, let's look at this one from the back. The second type of kick, it's going to look kind of the same, but I'm going to take a little step to the outside with my front foot, and now my foot is pointing on a 45-degree angle this way, and I make a bit of a step so that my hips can open up in this direction. My kick is still coming up on an upward angle. It looks like this. The best time to do that kick is when you're able to put a little bit more power in it, but you still want to end up in a boxing stance. So the little step lets me turn my hip over. The upward angle allows me to bring my foot back to the ground quick. And because I'm not pulling myself too far out of position, I should be able to touch with my hands again right after I throw it. With this version, just look at the subtle difference in how I'm pivoting and stepping with my front foot. So the next one, I'm gonna use a big pivot on my base leg. This kick is gonna slash on a downward angle like this. The best time to throw this kick is at the end of a combination when my opponent is gloving up, protecting themselves from punches to the head, and I notice that their weight is on their legs. You never want to do this kick if your opponent's weight's on their back leg and able to pick their leg up and check. You always want to throw this kick when their weight is down, legs firmly planted on the floor, and even better if their weight's on their lead leg a little bit. It looks like this. And now from the back. With this one, it's going to be a bigger step and a pivot. Just watch. Now you noticed on that one, I didn't step back where the kick started from. And that's because on that technique, I'd use it to end the combination. My goal would be to not end up where I started from. My opponent is looking at me here. The first two kicks, I want to throw punches out of it, but the last kick, I want to move my head off the line of fire. So say I did that at the end of a hook punch, I'd step, pivot hard, and instead of coming back to here, I'm going to step, pivot hard, and exit on an angle here. Like I said earlier, throwing low kicks with your lead leg, it's a little bit trickier because you have to add an extra step. My lead leg isn't swinging from the back like my rear leg can do. If I kick from here and try to turn over, it's not gonna have as much power. So I've got a couple of choices to make. I either want this kick to be fast and snappy, whip-like, or I need to change my front hip to a back hip. I'll show you the three ways that I set up the lead leg low kick. The first way, it's a snappy kick, almost like a whip. And I wanna do this to get my opponent's attention. Typically, what I'm aiming for is the inside of the thigh right here. And it looks like this. I'm at punch distance, I can touch with my jab, I step up with my back foot, my front foot picks up off the floor, I replace my front foot with my back foot, and I kick just on an upward angle. And this kick is just a snap to the inside of the leg right here. Okay, let's look at a basic, fast upward cutting kick with my lead leg. The second type of lead leg low kick is I'm gonna make my lead leg a back leg. So how I do that is I pull my leg back here, and then I step in with my front foot. This is just to generate a little bit of extra power, but on this one, I don't want a cutting downward kick like this. I still want it to cut up on an angle like this. So you do this if you notice your opponent's not defending the lead leg to the inside very well, and you want to put a little bit of extra oomph behind it to really make them suffer. So it looks like this. I drag my foot back, I step in, weight's on the ball of my foot, but my kick stays on an upward angle. And a little turn with my hip. Now to add a little bit more power, I'm gonna do a step where I pull my front foot to the back, take a step with my back foot, but it's gonna remain on an angle outward towards my opponent this way. Watch how it looks from the back. And the power version of your lead leg, you're gonna do the same type of step. You pull your lead leg back, you step out with this foot, but when you pick your leg up, it's slightly more to the side, this way, swing it up and cut down on an angle here, and it looks like this. So hand distance, leg slides back, step to here, my leg swings up, and then I pivot hard on my right leg. And I want to try to turn it 180 degrees. And to generate some power with the lead leg low kick, I'm going to do a full pull step with my lead leg, big step out on an angle with my front foot, and then as I kick, my leg comes up, I cut down on an angle, and I pivot hard on my right leg. It looks like this from the back. Okay, here's the best way to train these. For simplicity's sake, I put a rule in place in my fundamental classes that if I want to throw my right leg low kick, I'm going to do it off of a left hand. If I want to throw a left leg low kick, I have to do it off of my right hand. What that teaches is proper rotation of your hips. So if I throw my right hand, my right hip is forward. It's a very easy transition now for me to switch my feet. This hip is in the back. Now I can generate some real force and step back. Same thing with my left hand. If I throw my left hook, my right hip is now in the back. Now it has a ton of potential for power. So I'm gonna step out with my lead leg, swing my leg through, and throw my low kick. The other thing we haven't talked about yet in this video is what should your hands be doing when you're throwing a low kick? Well, there's a couple of schools of thought on these. Here's the two I teach. The first one is to keep your hands up here. If you're in a boxing position where I can reach out and touch my opponent, then they can reach out and punch me too. I don't want to see people doing a full switch with their arms for extra rotation on their kick with a counter rotation of their shoulders, because inside of that punch range, I can get hit in the jaw. So the two versions of this I teach is first, it's the keep your hand up method, and then the second is to reach out and touch your opponent method. Both times, I've got at least one hand up by my head, but when I reach out and touch, my shoulder protects my chin. The best time to do each depends on what it is that you're gonna finish up with. So if I'm gonna punch off my low kicks, I want to keep my hands in a position ready to punch. And if I'm going to exit on an angle and create some space, then I'm going to reach out and touch. With my first type of low kick, my upward cut, little step, I'm going to keep my gloves up because I would be punching my opponent here. I'm just going to swing my back leg up, little pivot on my front leg, roll my kick with my gloves up, and I should be able to go right into a punch combination off of that. With the second, I'm gonna generate a little bit more power, but I plan on coming back to this position here. So again, I like to keep my hands up. I throw a combination here, little step with this foot, it stays on that angle, big whip from my hip, gloves are up, and then I should be able to go straight back into punching from here. On the last one, it's an exit technique. So think about it as an exclamation point at the end of a sentence. So from here, I throw my combination, I finish with the left hand, I take a big step to the outside with my lead leg. When my leg starts to come up, it swings on a downward angle. I pivot hard and then I exit about 15 to 30 degrees in this direction here. Looks like this. Combination, step, and exit here. Now with the lead leg, principle's the same. If I want to kick with my left leg, I'm going to finish my combination with my right hand. So if it's going to be a speed style lead leg low kick, it's going to look like this. I throw my combination, pendulum step in with my back leg, scoop it up on a 45 and then get back to punching distance. And then back here. So combination, and I should be able to touch with my hands right away. The second, I also want to end up right here in the same spot at punching range, but I want to generate a little bit more snap and power. So when I step back with my lead leg and step to here, this hip is now in the back so it can generate a little bit more rotational strength. Looks like this. Punch combination, pull step, step in with this foot. I don't turn the angle, I just cut up and put my foot back down in front. Again, it looks like this. And the third one, it's the power lead leg low kick. I swing my leg up, down on an angle, but this time when I exit, I'm not gonna exit with a pivot, I'm gonna exit with a shuffle step in a backwards direction. It looks like this. I throw my punch combination, I draw my lead leg back, step to here, I'm gonna pivot hard for the kick, and then exit with a pendulum step on an angle. Again, combination, pull, step in, kick comes up and down, I pivot on this leg, and then I'm gonna do a pendulum step on the way out. Here, one more time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the comment section below. I'm Michael Foley. I'll see you on the mats.